Oh, well, we'll welcome you back to the program. There are 3 United States journalists in the studio as we speak. They have come to Nigeria to learn more about the job journalism. I have with me Lisa O'Donnell. She's a reporter at Winston-Salem Journal, currently at The Guardian. That's where you are right now. She's right there. And then I also have to my left, Nathaniel Minor, a journalist at Minister Public Radio, currently at Radio Lagos. And also, lastly, I have with me, I have with us in the studio, Connor Sheets, right? He's a senior reporter at International Business Times, currently at The Nation. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can tell, I can read different things on your faces right now. But I'll start. Ladies first, they say. Okay. Tell us about your experience. You've been around for a while now, for like 3 days or more.
We've been to Lagos for about 4 days. We started the trip in Abuja. We were there for about 9 days. So all total, we will be in Nigeria for about 2 weeks. We leave on Sunday, tomorrow night.
Okay. So what's been the experience?
It's been fantastic. It's been a trip of a lifetime. I look around at everything just very wide-eyed, and it's an unbelievable experience. I've really enjoyed my time I was at Blueprint in Abuja for a few days, and then here at The Guardian, and it's been really an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, let me quickly say that this is it is the Made in International. It's an exchange program.
Correct.
Some of our journalists were taken there, and then you are here. It's an exchange program between us and the United States.
Yeah,
right?
it's put on. The American group that puts it on is the International Center for Journalists, and they do all sorts of programs throughout the world, but they started an exchange program where they took 10 Africans to the U.S. in the spring. 3 were from Nigeria, and one of them stayed with me for a couple weeks. And then this is the return leg where they will have, we've got 10 Americans who have gone to 4 different African countries, Nigeria, Uganda, Ghana, and Kenya. So they were in the U.S. for about 6 weeks. Our experience is a little more compact.
Okay. So, kind of, what did you cover? What kind of story did you cover while you've been around the last almost couple of weeks?
For myself, I've been out and about pretty much the whole time trying to get as much reporting done as possible. And so I've covered everything from the issues facing communities that are being threatened with demolition and eviction by the government in both Abuja and Lagos, as well as stuff like Jumia, which is Jumia.com, one of the biggest tech startups. I interviewed one of their co-founders yesterday. Wide range of stories also. Let's see. I mean, just a very wide range. I've covered at least 10 to 15 stories here. So.
Okay. Let me ask Nathaniel then. When you look at the way public radio is run in the United States and you compare to the time you're spending at Radio Lagos Echo FM, are there grounds for comparison? Do you see same kind of thing, or do you see a massive difference?
I think the overall mission is the same, is to serve the public interest, to serve the people that are listening. I see a varying degree of government influence between the 2 broadcasters, but overall the journalists still have the interest.
What's the level of influence that you see when you look at what's happening at a radio station like Echo FM compared to the radio station in New York?
Well, I work in Minnesota in the United States. And
okay, you work, okay.
That's right. And there we actually just, I think 10% of our budget comes from government. Most comes from advertising.
Government.
Yeah, it's much smaller.
Yes.
And I think that allows us more independence to criticize government or to hold them accountable for things.
Okay. So do you see a situation where there is more reliant on government in Nigeria?
I think just because of Nigeria's complicated past, it's a continually developing area. Newspapers, I think, are doing a lot. Private newspapers to balance out publicly run media here and to hold them to a different standard than may have been even in the recent past when private newspapers were cracked down on. So I think that will change over time.
So speaking honestly then, in terms of creativity, what do you feel, do you sense there's a lot of creativity in our programming in the country? Just based on your experience, it's not rocket science.
Yeah. So comparing just Echo FM and my employer, both are public media, but there's just a huge difference in the kind of programming that I hear. Echo FM is a mixture of news and talk. I mean, I walked in the studio the other day and they were playing Marvin Gaye, and that's something that would never happen at my station.
Why wouldn't that happen?
Because we take news very seriously. So we're a very serious station.
So it's a news station.
It's just straight news.
Yeah.
And so we'll have speeches from politicians, and we'll have very somber, Sony news. And so going home, I'm going to try to say, hey guys, we can liven it up a little bit. Let's have a little more fun on air. Yeah.
Play Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, maybe so.
How about Lisa? What were the stories that you thought about when you were coming? Of course, that may have changed since you arrived. And how far have you gone with that?
I think my experience has been a little different from both Connor and Nate's. I probably didn't get out as much as I would have liked. Some of it is there were restrictions on how far we could go out. Some of it was just a matter of logistics. The people I needed to talk to, they were in Lagos when I was in Abuja, or they were in Abuja when I was in Lagos. So I had hoped to explore a little bit more about immunization and polio eradication, because there's a couple doctors in my hometown who are involved with the World Health Organization on that front. And I was hoping to do a little more reporting on the ground here, but logistically it just didn't work out. One thing that I did enjoy was I've been writing a blog for my newspaper. It's more like a travel log, probably at this point. But I did get to go out and with a reporter from Blueprint, the fashion editor there, and we went to a market, and because I was interested in doing a little something on fashion in Kenya or in Nigeria. And yeah, sorry about that. And, so I got to see a gaily being tied, which I was interested in.
That's a headgear, gaily.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got to learn a little bit about the tradition of that, and she took me to a market to watch a professional wrap it. Yeah, and that was really fascinating to me. I took some photos and video. Really? So I haven't quite posted that blog yet, because it feels like the more I learn or the more I look around, I think, I don't know what that is. Is that different than this? Is that the same? Different groups have different names for it, and I think there's different purposes and different colors, and so that's been a lot to sort out. So maybe not as serious as immunization problems or polio, but it's something that,
just like I said, it changed when you came in here.
Yeah, which I thought would happen. I thought, whatever plans I made, I just have to be kind of fluid.
Your head around the art of getting the gaily together.
A little bit. I couldn't.
You wouldn't try
I wouldn't try it.
Oh, really? And let me quickly go to Connor. You made mention of politics the other time. And I'd really like to hear your views. You've been around for almost a week, and so much has happened in our political landscape. What did you make out of it?
I guess I dug myself into a hole on that one. But,
and I'd like to help you dig more. So
well, I guess I'm not well versed enough to comment really on exactly what's going on within the party. But while we were in Abuja, we had a major moment happen with the PDP split, which I thought was very interesting to see how that falls out. I've done a lot of political reporting in America, and there's certain parallels and then certain differences. So I think it was interesting seeing what the newspapers ran on the front page the next day, and then how it plays out over the next few days. Every day it's the PDP.
How would you have reported what happened? If you
I'm not 100% sure I understand exactly what happened, but I don't know how I would have reported it. Probably pretty Probably pretty soon. I don't know exactly how it would report it. That's a hard question. But I would say that I think with the way the coverage was on the front page, it reminded me of pages of some of the major papers. It reminded me of some of our little more tabloid-style papers. And I feel like maybe this is maybe that's kind of how politics are dealt with. Maybe because we're in Abuja also, where politics sort of run the day. But, you know, it's just, you know, these huge blasting headlines, PDP crisis, and this type of thing. And it was just interesting to see that, because we do that with some of our papers in America, New York Post, New York Daily News, those type of old school tabloids. And so it was just interesting seeing how that played out here.
Have you checked all the other newspapers, or you restricted yourself to
a
just
certain newspaper?
certain set of newspapers to read?
No, I mean, we've been picking up a wide range of them. And in our hotel right now, there's free copies, so we've been trying to read them in the morning. And I haven't, read every single newspaper every day front to back, but I have done various newspapers each day. And I find that one of the best things about Nigerian media to me is that you guys still have, not only still have, but have a growing newspaper landscape. Like, there's such a wide array. I mean, I'm at The Nation, which I guess is it's a slightly political paper that almost has like a leaning. It hasn't affected my reporting. I don't report anything enough that's I guess controversial in that way enough there that that it would affect what I do there. But they have the wide range in the old tradition of like hearing different voices from different papers, which is nice to see, because I think in America we're losing a lot of those different voices as papers are closing and layoffs are happening and stuff like that. So.
Would it be right to assume that because you work for International Business Times, it's a bit more serious in its outlook and most of the content that you find there compared to what you will find in Nation or most of the other newspapers?
No, absolutely not. I feel like the Nigerian newspapers are very, very serious, almost to a fault. I feel like a lot of them, I mean, I was telling them, like, it'll be an acronym that an average reader might not know what it is. Or maybe they do, I don't know. But let's say, whatever, QRS cuts budget 2%. That would be the name of a story. And then the story is just about the nitty-gritty details, which, works well in like a, very political type of paper where it's mostly politicians and industry people reading it. But I think some of the stories could be actually livened up a little bit and maybe bring some more human interest to it.